So her confidence of the sun is going to come from knowing things and from showing what she knows and from performing and learning how to express herself. This is great for, you can work with kids, old people, but it's great for a teacher, writer, need to express oneself. Astrologer. But she has to know it well for herself below the horizon before other people are going to take really enough notice. Okay, so when you look at the aspects, it's conjunct Mars and Mercury. That sign is conjunct Mars and Mercury. The sun conjunct Mercury increases the intelligence. The Mars makes it a little more sharper and assertive. So it's setting, but she needs to be assertive. She needs to act and do things with her knowledge to make things happen. Once she knows things, she's going to have to show other people. Other people may react, but she's going to be forceful to try and express herself anyways. That's not, how could you believe in astrology? Well, astrology works, you'll see. And she's going to be strong in her reaction to it. Strong to take in ideas, strong to learn things, and then powerful to use them. A courage to express herself and to find ways of using this. Okay, that sun, it trines the moon. It trines the Pluto. It trines it sextiles the Neptune. It's a lot of good aspects. There's one difficult aspect here, the Uranus. So the Uranus squaring the sun and the Mars. So the sun and Mars kind of work together. I have to be knowledgeable. I have to follow my own things. I have to do what I know. I have to be active around doing what I know. I have to have a system or plan of attack. That's the Mars and the sun, kind of bringing them both together here. Both ruled by Saturn, and both needing to find creative ways to perform or react to ideas. But both of them are squared by Uranus, which is another outer planet, and creates a kind of extreme instability. So Uranus causes shocks and instability. To the sun, that causes inconfidence, lack of confidence, or a worry, and to the Mars, it creates an accident prone or someone klutzy or easily irritated person. This is different energy. This is a bigger struggle to get my confidence to do what I want to do. I've got to do what I want to do. Her sun conjuncts Mars and Aries. She knows what she wants to do. We can almost see nothing's going to come easy. There'll always be some fight, some disruption, some shock that affects it, and it affects her confidence. So she might do everything to get Dad's approval, and Dad might think she's wrong or not be there that much. So there's a need to be active and creative, but the impatience, Uranus to Mars makes it impatient and restless. Uranus to the sun makes it tend to lack confidence and increases it. So there's a great amount of impatience and a tendency to have things break away or people let you down. Why do I want to tell you this if you're going to let me down? Well, this is what's real. Well, you're not giving me good feedback. You're letting me down. You're fighting me. So so you have something that's like a high-strung racehorse that can run faster than any other horse. It's stronger. It's got the energy, but it's too finicky to go through. Great, don't touch me. Don't do this. Don't do it. And it's just jumping up and down, so it can't get in the gate. So it's difficult to race. So in a personal life, there's strong challenges here around relationships, around how I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. You have a strong person, and if she's being strong, not everybody wants her to be strong. If she wants, and in her receiving love and receiving appreciation, that's the Venus in Capricorn. It's squared by Pluto. I'm not loved. I'm not liked. Okay, what am I going to do? Then she's going to try and do things to make it better. When she does things, she's not that stable. It makes it, I try it's too hard and things get explosive or volatile. So on a personal level, it's hard to find someone who's going to walk into this energy closely and be able to understand it or to be able to appreciate it. And it's not that it can't be done, it just takes time, but it takes really, her whole chart centers around right knowledge and right understanding. So if someone comes in and there's disruptions or it's upsetting or they're expecting different things, they're going to have to understand because they can't tell her you can't do this or you can't do that or she'll break away. But she also knows she's not secure enough to think that I'm going to get all the support, nor am I going to get appreciated or the money to do the things I want. If I'm going to get those things, I'm going to have to work and get them myself. And how am I going to do this inside of the controlling environment? So how do you get out of the family? How do you get into your own world? You get some skills you're good at, and slowly, bit by bit, people want it and people know it, and you use your intelligence and your education to free you. So, okay. Yeah, so what's sitting out when we're looking at an astrology, we see, oh, there's the Saturn opposed to Mercury, the caution, the worry. There's the Uranus squaring the Sun and the Mars, the restlessness and the instability. There's the Pluto squaring the Mars, the fear of love or the control, the not being appreciated, the blocks. And those are all unique things below, factoring below the horizon, 4th house, 5th house, Saturn's in the 12th, but just the Mercury, the Mars, Sun, Venus are the 4 points where she's taking energy in, where she's responding to people. When it comes to getting her ideas and putting it out, she's got great energy. When it comes to getting the feedback or being liked, there's always going to be someone, or probably family, or somebody that's going to think you should be doing something else, or going to trigger off these other aspects, which builds up her complex of that. And she's too determined and strong to not overcome any adversity that comes at her. But there's certainly been some adversity. But she'll build up a strategy and she'll be determined to prove what she knows. So if she knows astrology and she's in an area where nobody believes in it or thinks it's bad, she's going to prove it. She's going to be strong about this. She won't win everybody, but there'll be people who come to her for it. Okay, now, okay, we did the Mars of how we put out the energy. And putting energy, it links in with the Sun. I got to put out what I know. Empowers it. It's going to be very strong in what she knows. Strong enough to upset some people. Okay, because of the square aspect in the 5th house, be creative. So Sun and Mars kind of work together. When you want to, but the Mars is getting experience. It's, I got to get experience. I got to do this. I got to know this. I got to go there. This is the Sun Mars. I know what I have to do. And she's going to do it. But every time she do it, there's always going to be some sparks or some flack that comes. It doesn't mean she doesn't do it. It just means there's going to be some anxiety or disruption at the same time. But when you look at she collects a lot of experience this way, but her whole chart is geared to understanding that, getting an understanding on, oh, that they work it this way. This is what's going. But here's what I got to do. Here's what I got to do. Here's my friends. Here's where I'm going. Because all of this setting chart, this Mercury, Sun, Mars, Venus in the feeling quadrant goes down to the IC. This is how she takes things in. Her ideas, she sees the worry, then she gets the disruption, then she feels not appreciated, and then goes in and it challenges her sense of not appreciation, affects her motivation, it sleep, it bothers her. She comes up with a new understanding, well, this would work, or this, I'll have to do this, I understand. So the Sag there is trying to understand, should I travel, should I go, why should I just stay here? So there's a natural urge to move, to get away from, to go places, traveling, but not support to do so. But we're going to come to the Sag on the IC, and we're going to go through the angles, but just all of this, she takes in the Sag IC, it motivates her. She's trying to understand it and develops a good understanding about things. And that understanding is going to say, well, it's going to feed the Jupiter in Leo, which is going to get her, it's ruled by the Sun, it's going to get her right understanding, and getting good friends will be the light that her bowl gets challenged to and her patterns go towards to, that balances the disruptions she came out of. In fact, if she didn't come out of those disruptions, she wouldn't value the good friends as much, but she has the ability to get it and go for it. And so the friend element is really strong in her chart. The lover element is a bit more challenging. Having kids, love at home, these are a bit more challenging factors, but the Jupiter, there's nothing afflicting Jupiter. If anything, it squares the moon, it throws its energy. Here's the understanding of everyone, all my friends believe this, well, this, how come, but my home doesn't or something. There could be a bit of a contrast or a struggle to understand home in the light of one's friends and one's understanding and the groups and the people that are around you. And if you have people around you that are right or doing good things and you're enjoying it, wow, you're going to let go of your personal stuff to be part of the group easily. Even if there's going to be someone complaining. Because that's the highlight. That seems to justify everything. So whereas friends would just say, so would a good understanding and knowing astrology, being wise, being the wise woman to advise people, that would do the same thing because it would build up new friends and people like her. So she would be very well known. So she could be very well known in the community she's in and still not believed in the family. And quite the same, would, prophets never appreciated in their own country. When they travel, then they get appreciated. So, okay. So Jupiter is trying to assimilate and digest experience. It's assimilating all the desires to be strong, to do it, to live up to knowledge, to live for things, and all the disruptions that have come to that. And it's assimilating that towards understanding how things could be different, how to pull people together that aren't going to be like that. Okay. The Saturn, responsibility, dad, authority, it's in the 12th house. Don't worry, I got it too. Like lots of people have this. 1 in 12 people will have Saturn in the 12th house. So this is the 12th. It's known as the house of one's own undoing or isolation or confinement. But there's a shadow there. There's a tendency to. It's like there's karma there that you have to deal with from other lifetimes or what. It's just things tend to not work out so easily in the 12th house. You have to be they work well when they go spiritually, but not so well worldly. So the Saturn in the 12th house, his relationship to dad was not necessarily so supportive. Authority figures have not been so supportive. And even though it's trine to Venus, it's opposed to Mercury. So the main way of this affects the way she's thinking. She has to struggle to get her education, just to study to know the things she needs to know. But the dad may not have talked to her, may not have encouraged her to have the career the way she wants. She may not have the career she expected or try to fit. There's complications with getting respect and dignity, but it's important to live spiritually or you attract employers or people, authority figures who are not paying attention to you or not thinking in your best interest. So there's a need to rely on oneself and work and to be conscientious about the things that you do. I'm doing it this way, I'm conscious. You can't fault me. If it blows up, I've still done the right things. I made it as good as it could be. So that's there. There's no outer planet aspect messing up. It's in a difficult house position. And it implies in the 12th house, the father wasn't there so much or was more difficult or was too strict or too aloof and not encouraging the girls need education or there was it would come out in thinking that the strong thinking of the kid would not be the way, they're not fitting according to my plans. There would be a reserve. And so difficult to ask parents for help or for support or bosses. And it's difficult, it takes time to get your career going. So to get your career going, there's a need to have a spiritual development and a spiritual sense of it to counter the negative or the despair. If I can't do this, I'll never get this, I'll never be accepted to there. No one will ever listen to me. But then you got the Aquarius with the Sun, Mercury, and of course, people are going to hear her. They're going to listen, but she's going to feel nobody's listening enough.